Hello, friends, and welcome to our April 2025 astrological preview video. My name is Jenny Sellers, and I am the creator of True North Empowerment. And I am so excited to catch up with everybody this month after last month's huge eclipse energy. We will have a lot more of reverberations of that eclipse energy that follows us into April, and we'll talk about that as we dive in. But with that, how are we all doing? Those eclipses were intense. At least they were for me, and I've heard from others as well. They brought up so much for us in so many different aspects of our lives. And now we're kind of left to make sense of it all, to integrate what was learned throughout that process, and to really make plans for how best to carry forward after the events of the eclipses took place. At the start of this month, we are still, even though we are in Aries season, we are still in a very heavily predominant Pisces energy. And this is because we start the month off with four different planets and or astrological highlights in the sign of Pisces. And so throughout the next couple of months, if not longer, we're going to be kind of playing catch up with the standard energy that kind of is consistent with a given sign. So even though we're in Aries season right now, we're still feeling a lot of Pisces energy. As the month goes on, which we'll talk about in the video as well, when the sun transits into Taurus, meaning it's Taurus season, we're still going to be feeling a lot of Aries energy. And so this we're in this way throughout the next several months, perhaps this whole year, we're going to kind of be playing catch up with some of the normal themes that accompany a given sign. So you'll hear this in several videos to come. But at the start of April, like I said, do have a very strong Pisces presence, and that will carry through the entirety of the month. And also, we just had outside of these eclipses, which were at the start of a new axis of energy in Virgo, the axis being the Virgo Pisces axis. The March 14th eclipse was in Virgo. And the March 29th eclipse was the last eclipse of the axis in Aries and Libra, which we've been walking through for the last 18 months. So it has really been a transformative time because we are starting a new series of eclipses while closing out the last 18 months worth of eclipses. So, with all of that, we're going to keep that in mind as we move forward. Then, also at the very end of last month, on March 30th, Neptune finally transitioned from Pisces into Aries. It's been in Pisces for like the last 14 years. So, this is a notable moment. So, at the start of April, we are fresh in this new Neptune in Aries energy. Neptune being the planet that is deeply entrenched in our that kind of that lays outside of the physical, our dream lives, our intuition, our knowings, our deep knowings, and the senses that we really rely on to help us navigate in this world. That's what Neptune energy is. And it's transiting out of Pisces where it is most at home and into Aries, which is a sign of action and of taking action and kind of taking what we've learned through the last, you could, I don't know, since the 1860s, the last time it was in Aries, um, taking all of what humanity has learned during those years and really starting a new phase and cycle. So that's no small energy to start the month with, especially coming off of the March 29th eclipse and then the March 30th transit of Neptune into Aries. That's how we're starting the month. So it's still a pretty powerful and potent time. Then on April 7th, we have Mercury turning direct. It has been retrograde since when I believe it was the middle of March. So it has been retrograde for several weeks. It is turning direct. And this is a part of a lot of that eclipse energy kind of clearing up and kind of being sorted through and processed in our minds. On the 8th, Saturn is meeting Venus, which is currently still retrograde in Pisces at that time. So this is a point of the month where we can really rely on Saturn, which is the planet of work, of foundations, of structures, of the bones, of the rigidity of things, really kind of getting to work with what we've learned throughout this Venus retrograde, which is still retrograde at this time, but will be turning direct a few days later. So, what have we learned during the time of Venus retrograde in Pisces, again, with that Pisces energy? And what do we need to build? And what structures do we need to form around what we've learned? On the 9th, Mercury, again, which has just turned direct, will meet up with the North Node in Pisces. And this is going to be another wave of big eclipse energy because Mercury was the ruling planet of the recent Virgo eclipse. And it's also meeting up with the North Node in the sky, which is one of the mathematical points that dictates where the eclipses occur. So there's a lot of that eclipse energy on and around the 9th as well. Again, kind of how do we process what we learned through that time and how can we really kind of formulate a path forward? On April 12th, Venus exits its retrograde cycle and turns direct, which is a great relief because at this point, we are out of Mercury retrograde, we are out of Venus retrograde, and everything kind of starts to move forward a little bit. We start to feel a little less sluggish. We feel more motivated, inspired to take action, all of that. This is also happening on the same day when the sun is meeting up with Chiron in Aries at 23 degrees, which was the degree of the March 14th eclipse in Virgo. So, what does that mean? The sun, which is the identifier of the self, meeting up with Chiron, which is the asteroid that really kind of leans into the wounds, the deep wounds and patterns that we carry with us in this life. So the sun is shining brightly on those deep wounds and patterns at the same degree of the eclipse. So make note that the 12th, even with Venus turning direct, has the opportunity to really kind of bring forward that deep wave of integration from the recent eclipse. This is also the same day as the full moon in Libra. So we're looking at relationships, the people that we keep around us, and how we interact with them, what we might want to change about them, not them as in the people, but the relationships, what we need for ourselves, as well as how we can show up better in our own relationships. So this is also because Venus rules the sign of Libra, and with Venus kind of coming forward and going direct on the same day, we're being asked to kind of investigate what we learned during that Venus retrograde cycle, and what we need to, again, release and let go of to make space to integrate those lessons that we learned during the last several weeks. So that's the first half of the month. Then we get into the 16th when Mercury transits into Aries. We get a fresh wave of Aries energy finally, even though we're about to step out of Aries season in the next 3 days. This is happening right on top of Neptune. So again, we've still got some of that dreamlike energy, that intuition energy with us. So we're just kind of looking at what we need in those areas as we start to take steps forward. On the 18th, Mars leaves Cancer for the first time in, gosh, it feels like 6 months or so. Mars had a very long transit in Cancer and it's leaving for Leo. So we get another wave of inspiration and of motivation and of taking steps forward. During this second week of the month, second and third week of the month, there are lots of square aspects happening. So there's a series of tension points kind of happening at this time as well. And then on the 19th, the sun moves into Taurus. So we are into Taurus season. However, like I said, this is a Taurus season that has a lot of Aries vibes to it. So keep that in mind. Then we kind of get down to the 21st. We have something that is almost like a T-square energy. And a T-square is just like multiple squares that are happening that kind of form a point in the sky. And this is square energy on steroids. So just know that the 21st may be a little bit of a tense time, and we can find the answer in Virgo in the themes that kind of come with Virgo. So what structures and foundations and routines even do we need? What do we need to take care of ourselves, both physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, as well as how can we tend to our neighbors and our friends and our families in those same ways? Um, then the last week of the month is jam-packed with a parade of conjunctions that are happening in the sign of Pisces. The planets are towards the end of their time in Pisces. And so as they continue to move forward, they're each kind of like kissing each other as the planets that are closer to the sun and move more quickly, bypass the ones that are currently in Pisces that move a little bit slower. So we've got these little kisses of Pisces energy that really kind of conclude the month. But then come the 26th, because those planets, some of the faster planets, are leaving Pisces and going into Aries, we are really kind of pushed forward in Aries energy, which is all about inspiration, motivation, taking action, taking steps forward, and taking what we've learned throughout the walk through the zodiac, and integrating it all so that we have a plan of attack for how best to move forward for ourselves. So come April 26th, really be aware of that rush of, oh my gosh, I feel like I've just come out of the fog, because that is very apparent. And then on the 27th, we have the new moon in Taurus, which is our first kind of outside of the sun moving into Taurus, it's our first opportunity to really feel into what this Taurus season holds for us as it pertains to all of that Pisces and Aries energy that is with us throughout the month. So, with that, I leave you to it to see how this shows up in your world, and what it all kind of means for you. And if you have any questions, I'm always available for one-on-one consultations and or birth chart readings, Reiki sessions from a distance, card readings, all of that good stuff, spiritual coaching. I am happy to meet with my clients one-on-one. So reach out if I can be of support. And just know that we will spend April really integrating what we walked through during the eclipses, but also with that heavy Pisces and heavy Aries energy, even into Taurus season. So be well, take really good care, and I will see you next month. Bye for now.